Hello and welcome to another episode of Literary Gladiators, the show where we discuss and debate literature in all of its forms. If it's written work, it's game.
Right on.
Let's meet the panel.
Hi, I'm Breanna.
Ari.
And I'm Josh. Ari, Bree, welcome back.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And we're going to be going over a really...
I hate to say this, but as much as I like discussing things with Literary Gladiators, it's not a discussion I'm looking forward to, in a way.
in the sentimental way?
Yeah.
Okay, but the work that we're going to be going over is Night by Elie Wiesel, and it has to do with Wiesel's account during the Holocaust and how it really proves to be hands-on and brutally honest. So we'll start with the first discussion.
It's about as nonfiction can get.
Mm-hmm.
He wrote down everything that happened in that book.
Mm-hmm. The first question would be, did you learn anything new about the Holocaust from Wiesel's account?
Not too much. Well, the first time I read it, this is not the first time that I read it. I read it, I think it was like required reading in middle school or high school.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I didn't know that much about concentration camps and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But rereading it now, I do know a lot more, also because I took a class about it.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like I'm more
Was this
knowledgeable.
at Ramapo?
Yeah, I took a class on genocide, so...
Okay. I would say that with there were specific details about the camps. The fact that the people that ran them were
They weren't
Nazi soldiers. They were
Jews, gypsies, lesbians.
They were people that were so-called trusted.
Yeah, they were people who were in the same category as the people who they were.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And because the way that they would operate is the people that they would find the most, I hate to use the word, but useless to their cause were terminated right away.
Mm-hmm.
And they would only keep those that they would find any use. It was like they were, it was like a machine or a household tool that once you no longer find use to it,
Chuck it.
out you go.
Yeah.
Which
I read this book. I think last time I read it was in 7th grade, and because I remember at my school, which was DeMacy Middle School in Marlton, we had a Holocaust program where in 7th grade you had to do for English class you had to do a Holocaust, and then later on I took a literature of the Holocaust class in 11th grade, and we didn't read this particular book, but we read books very similar to it. So the experiences, and also because I'm Jewish, I've been raised in such a way where when this stuff happens, it's very hard for me.
mm-hmm.
And this book is a pretty good example of the reality of it.
Yeah, I would definitely say so. And you're getting it from his account, and every account is somewhat different, but a lot of the basic structure is identical in some way. Of course, the most common ground is the fact that it was a brutal but also an unnecessary evil.
I was explaining to Josh before the recording started that this book is kind of like it's like the Holocaust version of when Wilfred Owen described in Dolte et Decorum Est, because he's talking about real life experiences within the situation rather than from a spectator's perspective. Also, I'm pretty sure you pronounced it differently from when I pronounced it, but Elie Wiesel died in, I think it was July or August of this year, so
2016.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. But
2016.
But yeah, the Wilfred Owen-esque kind of imagery, the idea that he's talking about seeing the
whatever he sees, he writes, basically.
The furnaces where the crematoriums and how
you're not covering anything up. You're not sugarcoating it. You're just saying
the fact that they would throw babies in the air and shoot them as target practice.
Yeah.
Which was just it is not. It's telling it like it is, and it is brutal and disgusting.
Yes.
Already. The next question. Do you feel 115 pages was enough to tell Wiesel's story? Should it have been longer or shorter?
He kind of said in the beginning, well, I don't know, like, if this was just something in this one, this edition, like the preface, but he said that it was longer, and he cut out pieces that he felt like he only needed to say certain things, and he thought that that was enough to explain his experience, and that what other people needed to understand about it, and then that was enough. I don't know if you guys, like, was that in your edition too?
I can definitely see it being the point,
Mm-hmm.
and that's how because he also, if the way that he writes, it's very unique. Where if he finds something necessary that happened afterward, he'll pick it out. He'll pick something out and bring it up, even if it's in the middle of the story, and not come back to it.
Mm-hmm.
So, I believe I read that as well, but from what I see here, he says everything he needs to say.
From what I remember from Night when I first read it, it was more about the facts than they were about the opinions.
Mm-hmm.
They were more about this is what is actually happening rather than this is what I like or don't like about what's happening. And I think you can only have, when it comes to facts, you can only have so many facts.
Mm-hmm.
But I think because it's just facts, you can make it, it's going to be a little bit shorter than if it was both.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would say that, granted, occurrences, I would say, that are taking place, things that he sees, as opposed to, because he doesn't, I mean, the last scene, which, if you have not left yet, this is a spoiler-induced discussion, but the very last scene where he's standing at the mirror, and he's skin and bones.
Yeah.
I would say that too in itself would be factual because
It's kind of both.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would say that.
Like an opinion and a fact, but I think a lot of this is fact-based, and that's what it's supposed to be, so it doesn't need to be any longer than 120 pages or whatever the number was.
It's the mile in my shoes experience that happened in real life.
Like, you could write opinion after opinion after opinion, and the book could be like 600 pages. But if you just write the facts the way they were presented, it's not going to be that long.
That's what happened in Dawn and in Day, where it was fictionalized accounts.
Mm-hmm.
This is Taz. She's been playing around under the table.
Mm-hmm. What's the next question?
Already. Yeah, last question is similar to what we have been going over. What kind of approach do you feel Wiesel takes on talking about his experience?
I kind of saw it as he's trying to teach people about what happened, and he says outright he doesn't know why he survived. He was nothing exceptional. He was weak, and he was fighting to survive like anyone else, but he did survive, and he feels it's important for both the dead and the living, the dead and the living, that it's his duty to tell them what happened so that it never happens again, type of thing.
Couldn't agree more, because that's how he lived his life. He spent the remainder of his life, because he was one of the few. He's not only speaking for himself, but he's speaking for all of those that were not fortunate enough to make it out of the camps, and it's become his mission he won the Nobel Peace Prize in 1986, and he went above and beyond, and he says, in order to read anything else that he's written, it all starts here, by reading Night.
Yeah, it's kind of similar to now, because I actually read an interesting article the other day called The Jewish Duty to Vote.
Mm-hmm.
And basically what it is that why is it is a moral duty as a citizen of the United States to vote. Mm-hmm. And in a way, this is kind of the same thing, where it's your moral duty to explain to people what happened here and help, shape their view on what happened so it doesn't happen again.
Mm-hmm. I think it's everybody's duty to vote for, because that's one of the most simplest ways you can speak your mind, is by voting for the person you feel will do the best.
But I absolutely agree with Bree on this one. I do think it's a teaching and learning experience, and it's something that needs to be said.
Yeah, I definitely would say so. Alrighty, does anybody have any final thoughts that we didn't touch upon?
It doesn't matter what medium it is. It doesn't matter what how it's expressed, whether it's Night or it's Schindler's List or it's Anne Frank. Any of these books are very difficult to read through, and to say what they say in these types of books is extremely difficult, not only for the writer but for the reader as well. So if you've read or seen any of these movies or done any of that, I do applaud you, because I know it's very difficult to read and understand what happens here and how horrible it is, and really appreciate standing up for what you think is right and wanting to learn about this kind of stuff, even though it's very difficult.
The movie I saw was The Pianist.
Yep, I've also seen
such a good
Escape
movie.
from Sobibor as well. That was a good movie.
Yeah.
I'll have to look into many more of them, and from different points of view as well. We went over Poor Christian Looks
And
at
then
the Ghetto.
there's The Boy in the Striped Pajamas.
Oh, that was sad.
But yeah, that was quite some. I didn't get to read
Schindler's
or watch
List.
it.
Schindler's List is it's so hard for me to watch that movie.
That's the one I need to see and read.
It's a book?
It's
it is
yeah.
based
Oh,
off
I
a
should
book.
It's based off of a book.
Keneally, or he's the one that wrote it. I have it in my library.
I'm surprised I was able to watch it more than once.
I think it's definitely something to. It's a learning experience. You get so much out of films of that nature. So, if we were to rate this on a scale of 0 to 5 stars with the admittance of half stars, what would you rate it?
Just 5, like all criticism aside or anything like that, just the fact that he wrote it. Like, I give him 5 stars. And to like have everyone know what happened, like I can't believe he told everyone how like he couldn't, like his father was, telling him like as he was dying, like calling out to him, and he didn't respond. Like, I don't know, to have that down in a book and then to share it with everyone, it just kind of...
The determination to write a book like this is very hard. So, judging by that, the fact that he wrote it is really good. And of course, the content's going to be a little bit, unstable just because of the experience he's been through. But I'd say it's definitely an important read, and I'd give it about a 4.5.
That's exactly what I rated it on my Goodreads, was 4.5. I think that not only is it an important book and a crucial book, I feel that Wiesel does an outstanding job telling us what we need to know, but doing it in such an accessible way. It's not as if we have to pry for answers, but the idea. One of the lines that stuck out to me was when they were in the ghettos, how they were being led by delusion and not by. It was. You would think that it was simply Nazi soldiers right away, but it just gradually got worse and worse, and the fact that the process was winding down that way, it makes it even, in a way, more painful. And
if I remember, the person who was actually there to greet them and to what's the word? Like be there as the leader was actually not a Nazi. It was a Jew. No. It was not a Jew. It was one of the it was a gypsy. That's right. I couldn't remember.
They had They had Nazi soldiers. They actually would come into the houses. They come in like any guest, and they think nothing about it. And what they ended up doing took them by surprise, despite the fact that the outcome was supposed to be the way it was. But I don't have a. Bree's got a copy of Night. If anybody is interested in checking it out, which I really.
I highly recommend it if you're interested in history, if you're interested in even psychology, you can read
certainly.
this book. And if this is a book that I would read if you're interested in religious points of view and how morals change between different religions. And basically, if you're like in the is it like liberal arts or whatever it's called, you'd be interested in this.
Yeah, I think that it's important reading.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for tuning into this episode, and be sure to join us next time for another episode of Glory Gladiators. For now,
Keep reading.
keep reading.